Hello, and welcome back to Warrior Moms. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Amy, and we are so grateful that y'all are here with us once again.
Yes, and we are so grateful that you are here with us, Cathy. I just wanted to share, before we even jump in and truly introduce you, I just wanted to share a little bit about just Cathy's beautiful heart and her heart for God. We had met and we're working on our chapters for our book, and one of the things that Cathy had just sent a text after we had worked together, and she said, "Our precious, precious children of God, I can only imagine the joy, majesty, and indescribable holiness they are experiencing. One day soon we'll be with them again for eternity." And if that doesn't just introduce you and the bright light that you carry, and thankfully we also get to hear about your bright light, Tini, today. So tell us a little bit about Tini.
Well, first, I want to thank you so much for inviting me into your space and your podcast. And I'm just so grateful that you all are doing this to bring hope to other women that have lost a child. I know this isn't a small task you undertook, and it's really cool to watch what so many of the Warrior Moms have done since we first started getting together. Goodness, I think it's like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So my name is Cathy Semeria, and I'm part of the Warrior Moms. Actually, myself and 3 other of the moms, all 4 of our girls were in the same car accident together. And because of that, we did counseling and had breakfast every week together. And so that was a big blessing, which wasn't something that normally happens when you have a loss of a child. You're usually alone in that.
Right.
And I do know that having the 3 other moms walk through that first year was extraordinarily I know it sounds contradictory to losing your child, but it was a huge blessing.
Yeah, because it seems like it would compound the grief.
But we knew that we weren't alone.
Right.
And all of our girls went to be with Jesus hand in hand together in the same way on the same night. And so there was nothing different about how we lost our child. So to be able to do counseling together, to have breakfast together, to be able to text in the middle of the night when we couldn't sleep, and we all were, as you know, we didn't have to say a word because we knew. And yes, all of the moms in our group and all of the moms across the world have lost their children in different ways, but that was a gift that I don't take lightly. So after that first year, we started hearing about other moms that had lost a child. And we were like, are we supposed to do something about this? And are we supposed to, which Michelle, Amy, mm-hmm. I'm a huge believer that in your pain is your greatest ministry. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to waste my pain. And so these women just through connections started coming our way, and we started meeting in restaurants. And I think on our Facebook group, we have like 150 or I don't even know how many.
It's between 130 and 150. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
And I think that meetings, like regular meetings, of course, people don't come every month, but I think we're up to like around
25
to 30 like regulars.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's several that come in, once or twice a year that are just like, God, okay, I need these.
Need the touchstone again. Right.
Yeah.
And, so to have that group formed out of the depth of the ashes, the ashes
of our children.
God writes about it. I will make beauty out of ashes, and it doesn't mean the pain has gone away. You know that. I mean, both of you know that. But I've been able to see things in a way I don't think I ever would have been able to see without being in the depths of the bottom of the pit on losing Christina. So do you want me to share about Tini?
Yes,
I'd love to share about Tini.
Yes.
So Christina, otherwise known as Tini, Tini, she's the youngest of our 4 children. I have 2 boys and 2 girls, and Christina will be forever 19. And Nick, who is 18 months older than Tini, couldn't pronounce Christina. So that's how Tini came about.
Oh, cute.
Never
Stuck.
Yeah, and never.
Always.
And the good news is she was very tiny, so it could have been a bad thing.
Right.
Could have been a bullying situation, but she was very petite. But she was an old soul. I knew, when she was young, that she had a calling on her life that was so near to God, and a gifting on her life. I mean, to the point where I used to say to her, everything she tried, she was good at. And I'm like, could you just share some of your gifts? But she was, her heartbeat was for the least, the last, and the lost, and the hopeless. And she went for everybody that didn't feel like they belonged. And her gifting was music, amongst many different things. But she was a worship leader and a singer and a songwriter. And she, when we found Jesus in our 40s, but the kids were very young, so they knew nothing but Jesus. She wanted to start a youth band in 6th grade. And
oh, wow.
So she went to her youth pastor and said, I want to start a band. There was no youth band at that point, and they called themselves Rise. And those kids were together, and they led worship in the main sanctuary, and they led the Easter sunrise service all the way until Tini went to be with Jesus, all the way through college.
Oh, gosh.
And they were extraordinary. I mean, they really were unbelievable. And after the first 6 months, Tini came, to practice and said, okay, I'm ready now to play the guitar. And they're like, wait, what? And she literally taught herself how to play the guitar. And, she closed herself in her room for a week, and
oh my gosh,
came out a week later and said, okay, I know how to play the guitar. And
wow.
I mean, it's
tenacity, right?
Tenacity.
Yes.
Very fearless, very bold, very,
driven.
Very driven.
Very driven. That's
very
one
driven.
word that I've always thought about.
Yeah.
Everything that you've ever said. Like she says, this is what I'm going to do.
She knew what she wanted to do. That's for sure. And so, and then, in high school, in middle school, she immediately started FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and led worship in middle school, and then continued to do that at Milton High School in Milton, Georgia, and was a president of the FCA group and led worship. And in her 10th grade year, she and a couple of other kids heard from God that they were to start a student-led ministry. And so they started meeting, the three of them, and they were like, okay, God, we're going to do this, and we're going to trust you're going to send people. And so Tini led worship, and by the end of her senior year, they had grown out of every house they were in, and a family had donated their barn and decorated it, and there were 200 students, more than 200 students, that met weekly in that barn.
Oh my gosh.
And these are high schoolers.
These are high schoolers doing a worship service by themselves in a barn.
Yes, and bringing other high schoolers in.
That's right. It was an amazing time to watch that. And so when Tini was in school, she was also a straight A student, like you said, driven. So she got a Zell Miller scholarship, and she decided Nick went to UGA they were a year apart in grades, and he had decided on UGA. So he was at UGA, and she got into UGA, and so she decided that's where she wanted to go. And so she went there, and UGA is an SEC school, big deal, is rushing, and she wasn't so sure about the whole Rush sorority, fraternity, Greek community. Mm-hmm. But I think that she really decided that was where she needed to go to reach people for Jesus in a way that would have been more impactful than if she had just walked into a Christian ministry that was already
in place,
like Wesley or many other Christian Young Life. I mean, she did do Young Life, but so she decided to rush, and it was funny when she decided to do it. Nick said, "Well, I just hope you're going to be okay with it, because all the girls just cry the whole week." It's like, okay, and it's a lot of drama for sure, a lot of drama.
Stress,
but Tini found her people in ACIO, Alpha Chi Omega, and she became a sister at ACIO. And there were 15 of them that became very close, and they actually called themselves the ACIO 15. And so she found her people, and she pointed a lot of people to Jesus. She actually wrote and sang some original songs in the house that I didn't know that she had done that, which I wish I had recordings, but the girls don't have those recordings. But they said they were just like extraordinary songs. And so her sophomore year, well, the other thing Tini loved, one of her passions was animals. She started UGA wanting to be a vet. And then after her first year of chemistry, which she got straight A's in, she's like, I don't think I want to be a vet.
Yeah.
And so she changed her major and decided to do physical therapy was what she was going to do. She decided that at the end of her freshman year. But her animal love was for everything, dogs, cats, but she rode horses as well. So she was a hunter and a jumper, and and she was really good at it. I was terrified to watch her because it was terrifying, but she loved to do that. And it's funny, in her sassy way, she got a pony at Christmas time because we had a barn. And because she got it on Christmas Day, she named him Beauchamp de Noël.
Bo who?
Beauchamp de Noël. Apparently,
super
that
easy
means
to say.
Beautiful Christmas, but she shortened it to Beau. But I'm like, cute. Only Tini would come up with Beauchamp de Noël. So yeah, AKO, she just found her people there, and then her sophomore year, she had, the RA in her freshman year sort of took these 4 girls as their little, as her little group of girls that she sort of mentored to. And so Tini and her other 3 friends lived on the hall together that freshman year. And so they got together once a month with the RA after they were done the freshman year. And at the end of their sophomore year, the week before spring break, they had just come back from spring break, actually. They had gone to, Tini and 2 of the girls had gone to Gasparilla Island, which of course, I think it was, maybe it's Little Gasparilla Island. I'm not sure the name, but she did not tell me that you had to take a boat to get to it.
Oh, wow.
So I did not know that piece of information. So apparently they took a boat across, but they had just gotten back on the Sunday night. And then on April 27th, 2016, in the afternoon, Agnes, the RA, texted the other 4 girls and said, I really want to go to the Iron Horse, which is a bucket list item for the kids at UGA. It's a big iron horse statue in the middle of a field in Watkinsville, and it's about 15 minutes off campus. Mm-hmm. And the girls all texted back and said, we really shouldn't. We're getting ready to study for finals. And Agnes pursued because she was getting ready to graduate. She was a senior, and she's like, I won't see you. We haven't gone to the Iron Horse together, and it's a place that kids go to laugh and sing and dance and pray together. And so the girls finally said, okay. And so they went, and they went at dusk because they wanted to see the sunset. And some kids saw them there, and they were climbing on the horse and laughing and singing and dancing. And that was where the last place on earth their feet danced. And they got back in the car, and we'll never know what happened that night. They were driving back, not speeding. Nobody was doing anything wrong. They had been together, praying together. Agnes was not, driving too fast. Nobody had done drugs or alcohol or anything. And for whatever reason, Agnes swerved the car. And again, we'll never know what happened. And she ended up in the other lane, and another car was coming. And Tini, for whatever reason, was not seatbelted in. I'll never know why as well, because she always wore her seatbelt. Might have been that there were 3 of them crammed in the back.
Squished in, and yeah.
And so Tini went through the back window and landed in a field. And I really think Tini was like, I'm going to be with Jesus first. I'm out.
Yeah.
And so the other 3 girls and Tini went to be with Jesus together that night, and the driver survived. Nobody thought she would live. And we'll never understand, we'll never understand why our beautiful 19-year-old girl that loved Jesus and loved people to the point where she'd just go up to total strangers in high school because she was bold and fearless and just go, I'm not sure what's going on with you, but can I pray with you? And she
and people allowed it.
And people
right?
allowed
they just
it.
Saw her sincerity,
something in her
something
that drew them to wanting to know the joy that Tini had. And so, Tini's purpose this side of heaven, she lived so fully. I mean, we had, I don't even know, probably 2,000 to 3,000 people came to her celebration of life service. And in the midst of all of that, because I wasn't raised in a Christian household and I didn't know Jesus till I was 40 something, the Lord used my story and collided it with Tini's story. When we lost Tini, we didn't lose her. We know where she is.
Right.
We will be with her again one day, soon, very soon, in a blink of an eye. But my passion is the next generation. And so my burning desire in my heart is evangelism, because I don't want anybody not to know Jesus until they're 40. Mm-hmm. And so with Tini's life and all the things she left us, she wrote a blog a month before the accident called Spark in the Dark, about being the light in the world and how you can make a difference and be that little spark. And, the first thing for me, the night that we found out, was 2 a.m. I hit my knees, and my first prayers to God were, please don't make me bitter. Mm-hmm. Because I did not want to be bitter. And mm-hmm. He's honored that prayer. I'm not going to say this is easy. As you know, yeah. It's not easy. But I have begged him to show me what he wants to do with my life while I have whatever time he's desired for me to be on this side of heaven, mm-hmm. and to use my pain to minister to others. And I hope I'm doing enough with that God will open up those gates when I get up there. But, because of the way everything collided, I knew that I had to go and reach the next generation. And the Lord is clearly, I've said, look, I'm open hands. You tell me where you want me to go, and I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to trust that you're going to equip me to do what you call me to do. And so I've gone and shared at women's conferences, at churches, FCA and high schools. And we set up with Tini's Spark in the Dark blog. It was easy for us to take that name that she had named her own mm-hmm. blog and use that as the name of our foundation. And so we formed Cathy Semeria's Spark in the Dark Foundation. And with that foundation, we've established 12, well, it's more than 12 now, it keeps growing, annual scholarships that we give to help students in financial need and to send kids to Young Life Camp, to Passion Conference, which is a huge conference for 18 to 25-year-olds. And I've literally watched the Lord multiply the people he's bringing to him in this extraordinary way that's very difficult to put into words. Yeah. With Tini's life. And she's not here physically mm-hmm. anymore, but what her life is doing is extraordinary to watch. And so to fund those scholarships that we give out, the Lord told me immediately the first year, I want you to do a 5K. I want you to do it at dusk. I want you to call it Spark in the Dark. I want you to have glow-in-the-dark wristbands. Mm-hmm. I want you to be at UGA. I want you to be with college-age kids. And I wasn't ready for that until 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. I had it all set up.
You weren't running a race all together, side by side.
We were not running a race, but we had it all set up at the UGA golf course in Athens for April in 2020, and COVID happened, and they would not.
But it was a virtual race, wasn't it?
So what happened was they told us we couldn't do it, and I said, okay, well, can we schedule it in the fall? So we scheduled it in September of 2020. And when September approached, they said, you still can't do it in person. I said, well, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it virtually. And my husband was like, what do you mean you're going to do it virtually?
How's this?
Do you know how to do that? And I'm like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do that. But I know God's going to show me how to do that. And because we did it virtually that first year, we had I told people to send me pictures. They could do whatever they wanted to do. My sister lit up her paddleboard on her lake in Virginia. I had people with bikes all lit up in Canada and in Israel, in Australia. I had people all over the world that did Tini Spark in the Dark. And they continue to do it because we set it virtually that first year. And now we just finished our 4th annual one. The first year we raised over $15,000. This year we raised over $30,000. And it's literally the most amazing thing that's happened. And we have the AKIO girls that have been very connected to us from day one. Of course, these girls I don't know from the original girls, but we now have our own Spark in the Dark AKIO chairperson who helps. We start running in February to pull off the race in October. And so that chairperson works with me all year long to do all the logistics, and we're just watching it grow and grow and grow. And now I'm in the fun part where I get to go give all those scholarship checks out to students to help them. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about
And I sit
Tini.
and listen, Cathy, and I mean, it's just like, I have this energy like, oh my gosh, what can I go do because of your story and just your faith and Tini's faith. But I'm also wondering, like, you have to have dark moments. So how do you push yourself to see God's light?
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, that is very true. And, you know, I look back and that whole first year is pretty much a blur.
Yeah.
I knew, I mean, I work full time. I knew, that the train was stopping at the station as soon as it happened. And within a couple of weeks, my son and my husband were like, you got to get back to work. And I'm like, no, that's just not happening. And so I took short-term disability for 6 months. And I sat and did nothing. I know that sounds like very unproductive.
I did the same thing.
But
I sat and stared at the wall.
I sat out in my garden,
at the trees. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I did the same thing. Yeah.
And literally,
I actually sat right back there on that screen.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And this is very hard to describe too. Maybe you guys can relate to this, but I have never felt more near to God than those first 6 months than I have ever felt in my life. I could see him everywhere. I wept all the time. I mean, at the beginning days, I didn't cry at all. And I was like, you know, I remember just kept turning to my kids going, they were like, why aren't we crying? Why aren't we crying? And it's shock, right?
Right.
And then when the floodgates opened, I could not stop crying. And, you know, my doctor, you know, everybody's got to do what, you know, they have to do. But my doctor on the first day, he called me the next morning. I'm here for you, whatever you need. And I didn't need anything that first probably 6 weeks because I think I was in shock that whole first 6 weeks.
Right.
But when the floodgates opened, I did need to take something. And I'm still taking something to just take the edge off. Now, you know, I sat and didn't do much of anything that first year, honestly. You know, I went back to work 6 months after the accident. But, you know, the after effects of grief, I think that, I don't know, I remember our counselor showing us a picture of a brain. Your brain actually changes.
It does, yeah.
And it's all scrambled up. Yeah. And I can't read like I used to be able to read. I can't remember things like I used to be able to remember.
Don't ask me anybody's name.
Right. And it's like, I don't know, it's,
yeah.
The physicality of it all and just the composite that how your body truly does.
Well, and I lost
impacted,
weight. I lost like 10 pounds within the first 3 weeks. And, you know, of course I've gained all that back, but, you know,
it's not something you can explain.
No, it's really difficult to explain.
I mean, Michelle and I are both sitting here nodding, like you were like, for the first 6 months, I did nothing. And I'm like, I did too. Like the day went by and I was like, okay, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
You know, I got Layla off the bus. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's right. That's right.
And I was okay with that.
Yep. And I, you know, and there were days that, you know, that I was like, okay, I can go take a walk or something. But I got to tell you, I just kept saying, grace, give me, I can do this and just not do anything. And I don't have to explain that to anybody. Nobody, I don't really care if anybody thinks I'm not doing anything. Yeah. I really don't. And, you know, my husband, he's British, he's super funny, but, you know, he sort of picked up on cooking. And I really have not picked back up on cooking since, you know, 7 years later. It's like there's things that I'm just like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. And I don't beat myself up for that.
That's a great thing.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times, number one, as women, number two, as mothers,
right,
we beat ourselves up about things that we're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And I think that is the biggest thing about grief and losing a child is you have to
give that
yourself
space.
grace.
Yeah.
That's right.
Space.
And do you think having that space and grace that allows you then to really focus on this, using this pain for ministry?
I am absolutely positive of that. And, one of the songs that Tini wrote is called Be Still, and it's based on Psalm 46:10. It's an extraordinary song. The Lord dropped the words and the song into Tini's heart. And like I said, she left us so many gifts. But to have those words about being still for my own daughter in those early days,
cheers.
Right?
Chills.
It was like, no, I want you to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to sit down.
You were probably the type before that were go, 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 go.
Absolutely. And I still have that tendency.
Yeah.
But I've learned that that God doesn't want me doing that.
It wears me out.
Right. It will wear you out.
It wears me out now.
Yeah.
Like I used to go, go, go. And now I'm tired.
Well, and doesn't it shift your perspective on your priorities too?
Oh,
because it's like your whole prism is different now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that is not important to me anymore.
No.
Right? And all the things that are important to me is just, one of the double blessings, and this is a double blessing, is our son and his wife, who he met a month after the accident at Passion City Church. They had identical twin boys.
Beautiful boys.
They're Henry and Owen. They are precious. But it's like all the things that I thought were important before Tini left this earth are just not important anymore. Yes, I still want to, live my life to the fullest. It's hard to explain, but it's like cleaning up my house or doing all this silly stuff. I just want to be with my family and my kids. Yeah. And I want to enjoy them, and
because we are painfully aware we don't know how many more days.
That's right.
We're going to get.
That's
and we
right.
want to remember and appreciate the times that we did have. And I always say, I don't want to have any regrets.
That's right.
And not regrets of things that I did. It's more things that I didn't do.
Yeah.
And you can let some of that go, now.
Yeah.
And so what brought you from those moments of stillness where you're looking around, you can see God, and what then brought you then into action, into, I want to do something like you said for the next generation. So you gave yourself the space and time and.
Yeah. And I think that God just started connecting me with people of how he gifted me to use that, because the Passion City Church has a women's conference at Christmas called The Grove, and Valerie, one of the moms, and myself were asked to speak at that in December of that same year.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
And that was, for the record, 7-8 months after that
right.
accident?
So April to December. Yeah.
And grief, that's soon.
That's soon.
Raw.
And to
that
get in front of,
yes.
thousands of women and share our story together. And that was one of the beginning, like, I want you to move now. I know this sounds crazy, and probably some of your listeners are thinking, does she really hear from God like this? I really do. And because I think that he's just taught me to be still and listen for him. And, maybe you guys think this too, but, after the accident and the nearness of God and the time that I spent with him, especially those first 6 months, he opened my eyes and my ears and my heart in a way that's very difficult to explain as well. So you see things that you never saw before, and you connect with people in ways that you never thought before, because you're more aware of, there's a whole lot of hurting people walking around this earth.
Yes.
And, one of my daily prayers in the morning is, God, don't let me miss whoever you have crossed my path, that needs to have some small word spoken to them, because one small word could change their life. Like Tini wrote about, being the spark in the dark, just a smile and a hello to somebody in the grocery line,
does
right?
not have to be huge.
No,
right?
it does not.
Yeah.
And gosh, goodness, isn't our world so
need of that,
so chaotic and so in turmoil right now? And I think, especially if there was a time in our lives, I just know, especially working, because I mentor college girls and I've been mentoring them for 4 years now, that they're so confused and they are stressed and they're depressed and they need to know there's hope in this world. So to answer your question about how did I move from the stillness,
right?
I still try to be still, but he started connecting me. And I think one of the first places was, well, I should back up, because I was asked to speak at another big church before Passion, I think in August of that year. So he started connecting me with people within the community that heard our story and wanted me to come and share my hope and wanted to know how I was still standing.
And it is a true testimony that you do. You lost your daughter. I mean, this angel of God, basically. I mean, she was, I'm not going to say she was a saint walking on this land, because
goodness,
I know.
no. Goodness, no. I can testify to that. She was not that.
No, but she was doing her job.
Yep.
And she was bringing people to God.
Yep.
And he took her home.
Yep.
And how do you stand and think, how, she was doing your work.
Yeah.
And you took her.
Yeah.
And I think it is a huge testimony that you are able to stand up there and go, he's still a good God.
Yeah.
He is still a good God.
He's still a good God. And I've, with the awareness that he's given me, like I said before, I am watching God take Tini's life and point other people to Jesus and save other people's lives. And does it make the pain any less for me that she's not here? No. But did I ever think I was going to watch people come alive because only God can do stuff like that. I mean, none of what I'm doing is in my strength. It's all God's strength. All I can do is say yes, and then let him carry me and ask him, what do you want me to share with the kids that you're putting in front of me this morning?
Well, and Cathy, I've been here from, because my son and Tini, they were at Milton High School together. Yeah. They didn't know each other, but they were the same.
They know each other now.
Oh, they know. They know. But they were not, anyway, they were there together at the same time. It's a large school, by the way.
It is a large
school. If you don't know the school, it's a very, very large school. So they were there around the same time. And I remember all of this happening, just being in the community. And, because 3 of the girls were from Milton, went to Milton High School. And I just remember, and the chatter that was around and the strength of the moms, that God is still good. I mean, that was chatter. And how our community came together to honor those girls and the families and the tragedy and everything like. I mean, it really was remarkable. Yeah, not knowing any of you. Yeah, and being on the outside and hearing about, the traffic jams that were at Birmingham Church.
I know for Tini. I know.
And where did all these people go? I mean, this was all of the, and then. Anyway.
And the UGA bused all the kids from UGA to Tini's service.
Oh, gosh.
And one word that you said that I want to go back to is community. I cannot stress enough to the audience, this world is full of so much sorrow and joy, but you cannot do this world by yourself.
No.
And if you think you can, your time is coming. And I thank God every day that he put us with a community that held us up. We would not be standing without the community. And when I look at the Warrior Moms and how that is formed, that's community. And community, he gave us that gift to walk each other home. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And the bottom line is, you invited me after we lost Alec. You reached out to me and told me about this group. And of course, it was when you were ready.
Yeah.
And then when I was ready, I reached back out to you and you said, it's here, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
here it is.
Come,
and
yeah.
I came. Yeah. So it's because of you that I found this community. And
well, and then look at what you guys are doing. I mean, I think
God
the biggest message is, are you going to take your pain and live your life on purpose and change what you can change with your life and your knowledge? Because everybody's going to suffer something, and everybody's suffering is different. And the person that suffered losing a child is the only person that can minister to another person that's lost a child.
Yes.
Because somebody that has not walked in our shoes, they can say they know or they feel bad or whatever.
Because they did lose their dog.
Right. They did, or they did lose their dog, right. But with your pain is what God wants you to go and minister to others in the same pain, because you're the one that can do that.
Yes.
And so community, when you said the word community, we wouldn't have been, our house was full by 4 a.m. the night of the accident.
It didn't take long, did it?
No. And it's because of the community the Lord put around our family that kept us standing.
And the fact that it was the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge testimony too, because 4 o'clock in the afternoon, more people are awake and seeing each other at Publix or something.
Yeah.
But 4 a.m., they didn't run into anybody at Publix.
No. And to go back to your original question about, moving forward, and you can move forward. As all you know, grief is not linear. Mm-mm. It's a freaking merry-go-round that you can't get off of, or a roller coaster that goes up and down, or the best words or description in the early days for me was like you were standing in the ocean. You never knew when a wave was going to hit you, and you didn't know whether you'd be able to get up out of the riptide. And those beginning days, I couldn't. I mean, there were days that I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was drowning,
and you never would again.
And and so. In those early days of that, I just think that, I sort of lost my train of thought there, but, moving forward, God just kept putting different people in my path that, hey, come and would you mind coming and sharing here? And it's sort of just been like, organic domino effect. Because,
and I think part of it too is your willingness to say yes. I mean, you had talked about how God had really gifted you this new set of eyes, but you're allowing it too. I mean, there's some beauty in that choice, that you could have easily said no over and over and over again, because the grief does just want us to sit right there.
That's right.
It's so painful. And yet you pulled up and your faith and your love for Tini and I think really pushed into how can you share it? How can you give hope?
I think that you guys would say the same thing with what you're doing with the podcast is when you want to help other people and you start doing that, you think, okay, I'm going to really change their life, but it also changes your life.
It sure does.
And the blessing you get back from helping somebody else, whether it's, it could be other things besides grief. It could be addiction, or it could be that they know they're not alone and that you know how to help them get out of that.
I've heard somebody say in recovering addict, because that's part of my story. But anyway, that it gets you out of your head.
Yep.
It gets you focused off of yourself.
That's right.
And poor me. This is so terrible. Yeah. You said it earlier. There's so many people out there that are hurting and sorry, and they just don't.
Yeah.
They either don't know where to go or who to talk to, and they feel like they're alone.
That's right. And I mean, when we were at the church the kids grew up at, I remember the pastor. It was a wife and a husband that were the pastors, and Judy said to me once, when you walk into the church and you look in the pews, look at everybody as if their heart is breaking about something, because it is. And boy, does that open your eyes.
It really does, doesn't it?
And those that look like they have it the most together are usually the ones that's heart is breaking more than you can imagine. Yeah. So
they're trying to cover something up.
That's right. That's right. So it's been baby steps, Michelle and Amy. I mean, and it's 2 steps forward, 8 steps backwards.
But
2
you
steps,
keep
you know,
stepping forward.
Right. And
that's amazing.
and you give yourself grace about the fact, like, this isn't a good day for me. I'm not doing this. I'm just going to be still today.
Yeah.
You know, and those days come.
Right.
They're not as close together as they were at the beginning days. We miss her so much. You know that. You miss your kids so much. Holidays are hard.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
random
Birthdays-
Tuesdays are hard sometimes.
That's right.
I mean, I'm like,
right.
it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, and as we're kind of coming to the close, I would love for you just those pictures when you and I were working on our chapters together, you know, like pick kind of a picture in your mind and describe, just give us this like final thought of who Tini was and what this spark in the dark is all about.
And I'll read
through
a
your
little,
eyes.
Yeah, and I'll read a little blurb from her Spark in the Dark blog. But the summer before the accident, she went out to Colorado with Young Life and served as a horse wrangler for the month of July. And it was the hardest job you could have been assigned because they had to be up the earliest because they took them on sunrise trail rides.
Okay.
And then they also were in charge of fixing the Wrangler breakfast.
Oh, wow.
And overlooking the mountains in Colorado. And when they realized her team that she was a worship leader, she started leading worship at the breakfast as well.
Oh my gosh.
So I can close my eyes. I have this picture of her that someone took there, of her playing the guitar with her eyes closed with the mountains in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a whole group of them on the horse wrangling team. There was a huge field of sunflowers that they all went to right by the barn and took all these pictures. And I have this picture that they took of Tini with her arms spread wide open, as wide as you can, in this beautiful field of sunflowers. And how happy she was, you know, even though it was hard work being out there in Colorado, mountains. She loved mountains and
God's country.
God's country. That's
God's
right.
country.
And her blog, can I read this little bit from her
Yes,
blog?
do, please.
So this is from her blog that she wrote, which, you know, the readers can get to any of her music. She's on Spotify.
And we'll provide some links at the bottom.
But her blog that she wrote March 14th, 2016, so literally a month and a couple days before the accident. In the middle of that blog, she talks about an interaction with running into friends that she didn't know that well that went to Milton High School. And they were so full of joy and they hugged Tini. And she wrote about, you know, in the middle of this coffee shop, you know, she was having a bad day and they just made her smile. And so she writes these words, and I compare it to a spark in the dark. As small as a spark in the dark might be, it can be seen by all those around it. And if those sparks encourage further sparks, a tremendous light can be created and overcome any and all darkness. So as easy as it is to say, my one life and heart probably won't make much of a difference, considering how many people there are in the world, you're wrong. Sorry, not sorry. There is power in one heart, just as there is power in one spark. And that's honestly my prayer for myself as well as you guys and everybody listening to this podcast is just be that spark to somebody. Just be that light to somebody because they need your spark. And then those sparks will create more sparks. And before you know it, you've got this beautiful light that's shining. And
that is so, I mean, I've read it time and time again, but you know, every time you hear it or something like that, something else, it jumps out at you. And it's true. You're like, you think just my spark, just one little spark isn't going to do anything.
And we can all do just something small,
Right. Yes.
right? And it makes
but
such a
how many times
difference.
have you thought that? Like, oh, I'm not going to donate $1 because what's $1 going to do?
Right.
Or I'm not going to, I mean, anything like that.
well, and then Tini's sass, as you can hear it.
Yeah.
And then,
That's
sorry, not sorry,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
I love that.
I mean, how wise was this 19-year-old
How
girl?
incredibly wise.
How wise. So,
Oh my gosh.
so I hope that, you know,
Yes,
I
thank
you know, it's so hard to tell people how to do grief because everybody's grief's different. I just say, you know, wake up, give yourself grace, and do it again the next day.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Find your place.
right. And be still and listen to God. Don't think you have to go out and change the world. Don't think you have to go, everybody's circumstances are different on how you lost your child, just make a difference one little step, one little spark at a time.
That's all you need to do.
That's all you need to
that.
do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a blessing for us.
Wow.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much for
sharing your
inviting me.
story
Thank
and,
you.
and
Thank
just
you
your
so much.
passion.
We were so excited. I mean, you were on the top of the list. I mean, sorry, other ladies that but you were, because of your faithfulness and because of your
Passion.
voice and your passion for community and women and just in general, making that spark happen.
I just want, all the women that are listening to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And, find somebody that can walk with you, that won't leave you, that won't judge you, that won't try to fix you. Jesus talks about it in the Bible. He just calls us to sit with each other, not to fix anybody, because you can't fix anybody. When you've lost your child, you cannot fix that.
Nope.
But you can sit and hold somebody's hand, and you can sit and cry with them, and that's all we need. And so I encourage the women that, whether you're 1 month in or 15 years in, get people around you that can cheer you on and encourage you and love you for who you are and
where you are.
Yeah, and where you are. Because it's not linear. Your grief will change.
And the waves will hit you.
And then you'll walk in, like you said, you could be walking in a grocery store and you see something on a shelf and then you're a pool of tears.
Yes.
I mean, it's the
you
weirdest
hadn't even
thing.
thought about it in 3 years.
Right.
And there it is.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. So just thank you
what
so
a
much.
blessing. Thank you so much.
And then we're going to link the Spark in the Dark blog and the music
Be
and all
Still,
that,
yeah.
and Be Still in the notes. And gosh.
Thank you
Love
so
it.
much for letting me come
Yes, thank
tonight.
you,
I'm so
Cathy.
grateful. Thank you.
Until next time, be the spark.
Be the spark.